Quick, run! Can anyone tell I like model jet aircraft? I wish I could say I was happy about all these models, but I'm not. And in this video, I'm going to explain a little bit of the background and history of why I am not that excited about them. Now, granted, they look cool. When I got back into the RC hobby, I'd been away for years, but about 6 years ago, I said, man, I want to get back in this hobby. A lot of exciting new things were coming out, and man, like a lot of people, I was really attracted to the new generation of EDF jets. That's electric ducted fan. They're running electric motors. And look at this one here. Now, isn't this just the coolest looking jet you ever saw? And the fantasy is you get a hold of this thing with retractable gear even. You get a hold of this thing and man, is this going to look cool in the air or what? Well, you can imagine, I'm sure some of you are already laughing. You've been through this, you know what I'm talking about. I got out to the field, I ran down, this just screaming like crazy, and then I went to rotate and it just staggers in the air. It just staggered in the air and I thought, what? And I'm going, where's this, extreme jet performance I was hearing about? And it went around the field, I could barely keep it airborne. And then because of the high wing loading, it's a fairly heavy model with a rather small wing. So the thing was coming in like a brick. And I had to keep the speed up. And now look, I'm not a bad pilot. And I came in and I landed, and it was a fairly good landing, but as soon as it landed, the nose gear broke off. And I go, okay, so is this the dream? Is this what we're all fantasizing about to fly these beautiful electric ducted fan models? So I didn't give up. I went on. I got this F-35 here. Now, once again, man, that is one cool looking jet, isn't it? Well, same thing. Roll this baby down the runway, took off, way underpowered, and flew around on the second landing. One of the gears failed. Now I'm not landing hard. I'm landing on pavement, and my landings are pretty good, but just a little bounce, bang, out goes the landing gear. And then after I fixed the landing gear, I went back to fly it again, and then the motor wouldn't run. But I didn't want to give up, so I heard about this Star Max F-18. It's supposed to do 120 miles an hour. I thought, man, I'm going to get this. And I got my big battery pack, I get down there and I take off, and it goes screaming down the runway and it lifts off, and right away, it wasn't going vertical. And I could tell, what a dog. And by then I was getting really discouraged. Really discouraged. This thing had long spindly landing gear, very hard to adjust. It took a ton of time to even play around with it to get the gear to, sequence properly and come down. And, after 2 or 3 landings, I just touched down in the grass and the nose gear collapsed on this. Oh man, by then, this is great fun. I'm flying all these cool EDF jets. And I didn't end there. I got a couple others. This F-18 here was, pretty much a pile of junk. And, but finally I got into some of the jets were starting to improve a little bit. And I didn't give up hope. Over here, I've got a free-wing Eurofighter. Now, I love the looks of the Eurofighter in the air, and I saw that with free-wing, there was some improvement in quality control. Not perfect, but we're talking, maybe they were putting spars in the wings now, and maybe they were actually building landing gear that would work. Now, these LX and Star Max models, and you all know tons of problems with cheap servos, ESCs that burn out, motors that are underpowered, and suddenly the dream was dying, okay? The dream was dying. But I wasn't ready to give up hope, okay? And I'll explain why. I'm going to take you over there and show you some of the things I've been doing to my Eurofighter to try to boost the dream back. I wanted to show you just how attractive a model this Eurofighter is. It's very highly detailed. It has excellent quality control as far as the fit in the finish. Carbon fiber spars. It has good wing loading because it has a delta wing with a flying fuselage. But I was not all that impressed with the stock power. Now, it would take off and climb, but it certainly wouldn't go vertical, and it didn't have any of that authority that you would want in a jet. But it was a fun to fly model, and the landing gear, electric landing gear, held up quite well with normal landings. But it also had this thrust vectoring feature, which was really cool. I mean, with thrust vectoring, you can get the plane to do some real wild, cobra maneuvers and twists and turns and spins. So the thrust vectoring was adding a new element to EDF flying. But once again, I was kind of happy, but I wasn't really happy. And so with the Eurofighter, I am in the process right now of upgrading it to more power. So I have this monster 12-blade fan unit and a very powerful in-runner motor along with a 100-amp Hobby Wing ESC. And this is going to make quite a difference in performance. It's not only going to push this thing in a much better flight envelope, but the sound with these multi 12-blade, 10-blade fans is more of a whooshing turbine sound than that high pitch that you hear with most EDF jets. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Now, I know some of you are laughing at me and saying, well, Kent, why don't you just buy the kits? You can buy a lot of these jets without the electrics in them, without the motor, without the ESC, and then you can choose and get your own stuff. The problem is, it's time. It's my time that is important. And, I don't have time to do a lot of building. I wanted to be able to get something put together in a couple hours and go rock and roll, so to speak, get this thing to fly. And, I think we're almost there. It is November of 2013, and I just think things are starting to change. Let me take you back in history a little bit. I flew one of the first electric models that was commercially available on the market back in 1990. It was a Great Plains Electra Cub. Some of you old-timers are going to chuckle and say, oh yeah, I remember that model. And I remember taking it out to the field, and when it had that big NiCad battery, it was real heavy, and it took off, and I'm going, what? This Cub just staggered into the air and went around the field, and I just could barely make it back to land it. And I thought, well, so much for electric power, and I didn't fly another electric until I got back into the hobby 6 years ago and started, oh, what's this LiPo battery, or what's these in-runner motors? Now electric planes, you can just let go of them and they go vertical right out of your hand. And so I saw the huge improvement over the years with just electric prop planes, and I've always believed, I've never given up hope that the day is coming. The day is coming when we're going to see some very good EDF jets that can be delivered and high quality and fast and powerful right out of the box. So what I'm asking all you out there is the promised land at hand? Have we arrived? Are we getting closer? Let me show you what just arrived at my doorstep today.